We are in this together.
You have gifts that I don't have, and I have gifts that you don't have.
That we must see. Now is the time, because it's when we all get together that we will make the changes that we must make. We are the world.
Welcome to Malcolm and We, heard exclusively on MalcolmPresents.com, a streaming platform heard around the world and into outer space. And today we have, as a guest, Tex Albert. And as I told Tex, this is the first time that I've ever met someone by the name of Tex. But anyway, Tex, you and Yana have a working relationship, so let Yana take over. Yana?
Thank you.
Take over.
Thank you, Malcolm. All right, I will. Tex Albert, a resident of Quebec, Canada, is a cosmo-ecozoic who nurtures confidence and hope that we can all live in a co-creative presence to collaborate for the common good. His desire is that we can work toward a peaceful and sustainable world, both now and in our future. The hashtag for this is Cosmo-Ecozoic Reverential Humility. Tex, mon ami, welcome. And I think you may have some explaining to do.
A lot of explaining to do, Tex.
Thank you. Yes, I expect that. I expect I will need to explain a little bit. Now, I'm in my youthful 67th orbit around the sun. Soon will be 68. And originally from the Seychelles, the Republic of Seychelles in the Indian Ocean. Seychelles started off by having no indigenous population. The French settled there in 1776. And eventually, Seychelles became British after the French lost whatever conflict with the British in North America. And anyway, Seychelles became an independent nation in 1976, 29th of June, 1976. And at that time, there was only like 65,000 people in Seychelles. The population was only 65,000. At the moment, it's around 100,000 in country. So in terms of population, it's not a very big country, but Seychelles is a member of the United Nations, a member of the Commonwealth, and a member of the Francophonie. It is officially trilingual, Creole, Seychelles Creole, which is taught at school and written, English and French. Now, I've in Seychelles, after my education, I ended up in administration after Seychelles became independent, then in foreign affairs. So I've had some forays in at the UN, in the Organization of African Unity. So I've been exposed to, you could say, a nation a people going from being a colony to becoming a nation, independent nation, then having had a coup d'etat there, which eventually led me to leave the country with my wife and 3 daughters then in 1988, and arrived here in Canada, in Quebec, and asked for refugee status at that point. So
a question, where are the Seychelles in relationship to, you said, I think, in the Indian Ocean?
Yes.
What are the larger continents, or what are the larger islands that you're near?
Seychelles is east of Africa, 4 degrees south of the equator, just north of Madagascar. So it's closer to Tanzania, and yeah.
So more or less off the African coast.
Yes, it is in fact considered a member state of the African Union. Oh. So yeah, but it's very particular because, as I say, the population is a mixed population over the 200 and so years that Seychelles has been populated, and but we've evolved, and I myself, I've attended several meetings of the Africa. At that time, it was Organization of African Unity, and being at least bilingual French and English, it positioned us, even if we're relatively small, to be sometimes in the midst of conversations between the Anglophone and Francophone groups, So yeah, it's been interesting.
Now, what are you doing now? I mean, what type of work or organizations are you part of?
Very good. So having listened to some of your other programs, I can foresee that you'll be asking such questions, Malcolm. I know that I am not here trying to sitting for a job interview, but right now at almost 67, I'm a pensioner. But I will never be retired in my life because I consider myself as a very active citizen of the world. And as the years accumulate, I think hopefully there's experience and hopefully a little bit of wisdom.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're all in that group. We're all full of wisdom.
Yeah.
Or full of it.
Yeah, or full of it, yes. But in Seychelles, I've gone from being in the Department of Administration just after independence, or I was especially in the Management Services Unit. We were involved in developing systems, organizational charts for different ministries. So that really put me into the governance of or at least to experience how it was being organized, where it would go from there. After I finished my pre-university years, because back then in Seychelles, there was no university. So to go for further studies, one would have to get a scholarship, unless one was from a relatively wealthy family. There were not that many around. And I asked to go and study educational and child psychology. I was offered architecture. So at that point, that was 1977, I said, well, I'll go to the University of Life. It is where I've been, although I have studied in England, I have studied in France, England, organization and method and work study. In France, I went for a degree in administration économique et sociale, economic and social administration. I didn't complete that. But I've really gone from post to post in public service, civil service. I also had a stint in the Seychelles National Workers Union, which led me to go to the Organization of International Labor Organization, ILO. And yeah. Now,
as I tell Renaissance people, man.
I tell people no matter what age, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, when I grow up, maybe I could be like Malcolm Berman and just interviewing people.
Actually, I've only started this about 2.5 years where I interview. Generally, I've been behind the camera. I just started this podcasting or the Zoom casting since the pandemic. So well, I'm constantly changing. So my question is not because as long as you're around alive and you have your mind, you're always looking for I'm always looking for something else to grow. Once you stop growing, you become old.
Quite right, quite right. Well, at this point, I consider myself to be an apprentice, co-creative, presencing, and trusting, synergistic, emerging coherence. So and this is probably how Yana caught sight of me as I presence in Unity Earth World One World platform. I mean, after I left Seychelles in 1988 and seeing where the country had gone to after independence, the coup d'etat, and seeing how power can corrupt and how absolute power can corrupt absolutely, I've seen that. We won't go into the details of all that. I had become quite cynical about humankind.
Welcome. I'm a total cynic now as I got older. When I was younger, I would listen to the John Lennon Imagine all the people living in the world, and I thought, oh, that would be perfect. And now I realize that's impossible.
Yes, yes. Well, what has inspired me recently, which has moved me to get involved in these online platforms and our civil society movement, is coming to the awareness that the universe is in evolution and has been, we told, like 13.8 billion years. Now, I find that to be relatively too exact, so I like to round it up to 14 billion.
And what's a billion or two difference?
That's right. That's right. That's right. But anyway, so I did this course through Deep Time Network, dtnetwork.org. You can find that online. And when doing this course, I got a sense of what they call the deep time perspective, which is the universe in evolution. And I've come to the realization that I, as a human being, even as a spiritual being having a human experience, I am part of the consciousness of the evolving universe. And now it's with what I call reverential humility that I come to that realization. Reverential humility, because when we consider the vastness of this whole thing, of the universe and evolution and whatnot, the cosmos apparently is ever expanding, and all these telescopes that they send up, NASA sends up, like James Webb is the most recent. It's almost like unfathomable to really get to the bottom or to the beginning of the Big Bang. But before all that, like when one gets a sense of where we at, I say now I have a sense of place in space, and it's with awe and wonder and with reverential humility. So it's not a humility where you're all small and all, but you feel that you are part of something big, and that if we had a critical mass of human beings having that sense of place in space and with awe and wonder, we would be moved into reverential living and be moved into collaborating in solidarity for our common good. To the extent that in the world right now, there's a nuclear arsenal that can really blow up the whole planet. We also know that people are regenerating ecologies and developing like permaculture, really making a flourishing ecology out of deserts even. I mean, Israel is a great example. They've done all these growing in deserts. So there's a lot of good there. And there are other eco-villages around the world. There's a whole network of eco-villages where people are actually applying themselves to thriving ecological places,
Right. Well,
sustainability.
I'm coming to like your conclusion, but in a little different way, because when I look at when I'm in well, not Los Angeles, because Los Angeles you can't see the stars, but when I'm out at the desert or up in the mountains and I go out at night and I see all the stars, the billions of stars that are there, and I realize the vast I can't you can't even call it miles, whatever the light years they are away, and that I realize how our planet and me particularly are so actually insignificant in the course of whatever it is, the cosmos or time and they've been millions of years and we have maybe, 50 to 100 years, on Earth if we're lucky. So the things that we do or we can accomplish, aren't, oh my God, it's, this is so important. So, but you just have to go and do it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not that, oh, oh my God, get tied up with the minutiae of it. You go out and do it. There's a freedom it gives you.
Mm.
It's like another thing which I do just for me personally is like I love being out at the ocean
Mm.
and I see the tide coming in and out and in and out. I was raised on the beach, but I see the tides coming in and out, and I realize it's, again, billions of years it's been happening before me and after me. And in the space of time, I'm, a microsecond or less than that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so hard
Well,
to fathom just the vastness
Yeah.
of it all. And but we are lucky, those of us who can go to the mountains, the desert, get away from the lights of the city and see that. If you tell somebody who's never seen that or never will see that, if they only live in this city, where they can't get away because of their SES, it's really sad to think about. But growing up in Colorado and doing a lot of backpacking and to in wilderness areas and being able to see where man hasn't really been, hasn't left its mark, his mark, her mark, and being able to see the stars at night and really feel it. It's there just aren't words for that feeling, and I miss it.
Yeah, I come from
we
like a similar background, except my background is Manhattan and Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yeah.
no, but
Then you went to LA.
we're living in a time where we can be relatively well informed and get a sense of where you know science is what science is revealing to us. I mean, you have organizations like the Institute of Noetic Science that was started by Edgar Mitchell, who was an astronaut. Then you have the HeartMath Institute. Now, and we have all these other scientific revelation about, the potential of the human being, even from, unexplained healing, where people can, like heal themselves, I mean, we can have like, what do you call it, the placebo effect, which is very simple. You give someone a pill of essentially nothing in it, and they think that they're taking a medicine, and then they end up healing themselves. So we go from there, and then if we look at the potential of applying scientific knowledge for our common good, I think there's a lot of potential. But of course, I agree with you in the sense that we can only be the change we would like to see in the world, and we start with ourselves. So be it in terms of healthy living, in terms of presencing in relation to others, we have truly to start with ourselves, oneself. So this is where, as a father of four daughters, at least we have four daughters with my ex-wife and myself. They're all grown-ups now, four grandchildren. Soon, maybe the eldest could even be a parent himself, the way he's turned 16. So I'm relatively preoccupied about the future. and about transmitting a sense of hope and a sense of purpose in life that we can do. And probably the best we can do is to ensure one's own sense of well-being. That would be already great if we have a sense of well-being, if we not just distracted by whatever entertainment, and the preciousness of life, the beauty of life. I mean,
so
we
be
talk,
the light. Be the
well,
light that people will want to come to. Right?
Quite right. I mean, we're touching on topics between among the three of us here that would go well beyond a half hour. So I'm grateful that that somehow Jana thought, oh, Tex would be a good candidate to be on our program.
It was a process.
Yeah, it was a process. I missed two. I mean, we missed two rendezvous, and then this week this 2024. Like it looks as if I'm in haste, and there's a couple of situations where I've been ahead of the time that whatever event was supposed to happen. So I need to maybe
better to be ahead than behind.
I'm a product of the the 60s and 70s. I'm that old where folk music was a big thing, folk music and spirituals. And when we're talking, I feel like I wish we could use it. I feel like going to the song, This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine. And that's basically what you're doing and what we're trying to do. It's just create a little light and let it shine, let people see it, almost like the stars. It's this, and I love that song, This Little Light, which I think is a spiritual. But this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And this is what both the three of us are trying to do.
Quite right. And I think as adults, to let our light shine, first it's the love of oneself, then the love of others, especially the children or the grandchildren, future generations. So the best we can be out of love, which would be out of a certain mindfulness of others, mindfulness of our own self, is to nurture this feeling of care, to care for oneself, to care for others that's coming, ahead in the future. As the engineer says, when we making decisions, to think of 7 generations. I like to use the word 8 generation, the figure 8, which can represent infinity. So do the best we can do with probity, which is the best of the knowledge that we have.
I wondered what that word meant. I saw that when I was looking up information on you. I was like, what is that word?
Well, probity, that's, the science. What does the science give us? Then we have the technology. I mean, right now with the digital technology, we could have effective participatory democracies. I've collaborated here in Quebec with someone who's who's very knowledgeable in terms of computers, digital technology. And I've come to realize that we could have like online strategic planning and result monitoring, to international norms. You have a lot of those international corporations that use such procedures to monitor what they do and improve and all that. And we can use that in democracy so that citizens can effectively be empowered to participate 24/7 and have a proportional representative. You have people who are elected, but to the extent that the citizens participate on any issues, the weight of the vote of the elected representative would be, proportional to the participation of the population. Anyway, all this is possible so that we have, we, the people, effectively engaged and in ensuring peaceful ecological thrivability while also mindful of personal flourishment. So that's where I'm at, really. Thank you.
I'm going to
I
ask you
love it.
something
Now
with,
you have to explain what cosmoecozoic means.
Yes, cosmo-ecozoic. You see, there's a lot of talk about the need for an ecozoic era, which essentially means being aware of the ecology, so being mindful of the ecology. But I think that if we just focus on the planet, the planetary ecology, we probably will fall short. We need to see ourselves as part of the evolving cosmos. So this is why I call for cosmo-ecozoic era. And as a cosmo-ecozoic, then we can have this sense of reverential humility, which will move us to reverential living and move us to love in action, which is effectively collaborate in solidarity for the common good, even for the higher good.
Very good. Well, that's a great explanation.
Now,
That's
just changing the topics, a little bit, which I'm curious because we live in the United States, and now we're coming up to the presidential election, and I was just wondering, what are your thoughts, or do you know your thoughts of the fellow Canadians as far as looking at the United States? Because we're involved with, you don't have to answer this and that because it's very political, but right now we have this, dichotomy, but these two groups, and obviously I'm involved in it, but you as an outsider looking in, what are your thoughts?
Well, firstly, let me say that I feel profoundly that the assassination of President John Kennedy, uh, with his assassination, there was a crossing of the Rubicon, as they say. We started down, something relatively dark, and then you had the assassination of Martin Luther King. Then you had the assassination of Robert Kennedy. In a way, humankind has been short-shrifted by these assassinations. The American human experience should really be at the forefront of humankind attaining peaceful ecological thrivability on the planet. Now, I have a sense of trust that somehow or another, common sense will prevail eventually. Now, I will not go into the possibility of being helped out by the extraterrestrial,
Right.
but
Off camera, could you tell me what drugs you're on? Yeah, I'd love to
well,
come to your conclusions, but somehow I'm sort of midstream. Uh,
I
I read the
understand
news and I get depressed.
what I use. It's called lucid idealism and hope.
Oh, hope springs eternal.
Do you smoke that, or how do you?
Well, you just breathe it.
Oh, breathe it. Okay.
It's in
All
the
right.
air. It's in the air.
It's in the
uh,
That's funny.
Well, we're almost out of time. Is there anything that you would like to tell our audience, or is there a website, or is there a group that you would like for them to contact or contact you?
well, oneworld.earth would be the platform. We consider it as a co-creative framework. That's by, it's John Raymer is the architect behind the platform.
Yeah, I think did we
And
have John on the show?
yeah, you had
Yeah,
John
we
on the
did.
show. Yeah, I've listened to him and to the wife also, Summer Joy Raymer. They're doing amazing work. And John collaborates closely with Ben Bowler, who started Unity Earth. So all these are civil society worldwide movements that gives me, or at least kindles my hope You see, these, you know, and
we the world too, because we're all together.
and with the world, that's right. I mean, I'm here really because of Jana's collaboration with We the World.
Right.
I
That's why I'm here with Malcolm and We. She introduced me to it.
You know, because I was thinking, I said, going to Malcolm and We, it's almost as if I'm putting out a bottle with a message out into the ocean.
Yeah.
But maybe someone somewhere will catch a word or a phrase that I say and be inspired.
Yeah, well, I'm working on theory that you know, it takes one spark to light a fire, and I'm trying to see if through my show or through our show we could create that spark. So what I ask you is, when you see their show, and Ayana will send it to you, tell all your friends about it, and email it to you know, all your friends, and have them share it with all your friends. And we'd love to have you back, because there's a lot more we could talk about and get into detail of what you're doing.
Yes.
So if keep in contact with me and Yana, and if you have any ideas what you would like to do, we are the communications arm. You do the work, you know, you and the other people that you're surrounded with do the work, but we want to take your word and spread it to the people who are totally unaware of things.
Wonderful.
And make them
out into deep space.
Yeah, wonderful. And there's also Shonda with Earth Mother Network. She's also doing great work there. I even tried to get her to, when I realized she didn't participate last week when she was due, I tried to get her to give her my spot, and I had a back and forth with her. Because I think
not to cut you off. I'm happy you didn't give her your spot, because I enjoyed our conversation. But now we have to go. We will get together with Yana, and she has a schedule for, you know, for the whole year. And you think you have more time, and you have different
working on it.
and you because I'm sure there's a lot more that you can you know, tell us. In the meantime, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And also Diana, and we'll see you guys next week. Remember, you're listening to Malcolm Presents.
Au revoir.
And
au revoir. Au revoir.
And Malcolm and We. Au revoir. Bientôt. Bye.
Bye-bye.
The objective of the organization We the World is to facilitate cooperation on a global scale amongst groups and individuals dedicated to implementing solutions to the many challenges we face on the planet at this time.